this edition of Breaking New Grounds, I'm looking at such things as online subscriptions such as Netflix to see how you, the audience, watch your favourite shows. But first, I talked to Birmingham City University lecturer Dr. Kerry Gough to get her opinion on this new online craze. I'm here with Dr. Kerry Gough. So, Kerry, are you an online subscriber to such things such as Netflix?
I am actually. I don't currently subscribe to Netflix, largely because my daughter is a subscriber through her boyfriend's family's account, and she's one of the named people. I'm a subscriber to Amazon Prime actually. It was a gift from my family, from my children, and actually they watch it more than I do, to be fair. We've found that since we've subscribed to it, actually we watch it much more than we do any other format. I used to be a real big box set overdoser, and I found I haven't needed to do that since we've had Amazon Prime. Yeah. So Amazon Prime's my subscription, but my daughter's also got access to Netflix, so we do tend to share and make sure we can kind of get all the coverage between us.
So, how do you feel this form of viewing? How do you think it affected many people?
One of the things that I particularly really love about it is the accessibility anywhere and everywhere. We've got it linked to all of our kind of laptops, our iPads and things like that. And we're a kind of, we're a swimming family, so we tend to travel the country quite a lot. And it means we can take the iPads and the kind of laptops with us, and we can watch our television wherever we want to be, in any hotel room, on poolside with your headphones on. So it's really transformed our viewing experience, which used to be kind of like date night TV, sit down and watch your shows, and now we kind of watch them as and when, wherever we want to. We'll watch them as a family, or one of us might not be able to watch it on a particular night when we're all watching together, so we'll catch up during the week and then sit down and kind of do overdoses at the weekend and things like that. So it's completely transformed how, why, when, where you kind of do your viewing. And I think that's something that's I've seen kind of mirrored across certainly my students and the people that I know. It's kind of changed people's viewing habits. And I commute a lot as well, and I've been surprised at how many people just over these last couple of years I've seen watching TV on their phones, which I don't think I could do, but certainly an awful lot of people that do for that kind of, you know, long journeys, entertain yourself as you go. So it's transformed the viewing experience, I think, for audiences.
Is things such as Netflix, the online powers that are, is it suddenly becoming to take over the television industry, do you reckon?
I think there's definitely a change in the television industry. I'm not so sure that takeover is the right word. Certainly we came to things like Amazon Prime and Netflix largely out of a frustration with Sky stealing everything from kind of, you know, mainstream viewing. We used to watch loads of shows like 24, Lost, Game of Thrones, and they were all kind of bought up by Sky, and we didn't have the Sky package, which at £21.50 a month is, in my view, rather extortionate. So I think they're going to keep their kind of, you know, their ambition for real quality television, that kind of pristine quality. And that's not to say that Netflix and Amazon can't mirror that, but I think Sky have got themselves into this position where they have set themselves up as the kind of market leaders for that type of quality content. They now run the risk that they are not as able to innovate and experiment as Netflix and Amazon Prime have been able to, particularly Netflix with the success of Breaking Bad and their own kind of original content. So they're able to experiment, not at the cost of their kind of branding being tarnished if things don't go according to plan. I think actually what they've enabled is not only experimental viewing, but the sharing of kind of experimental type of TV content. So I think they're kind of branching out into a slightly new area, which I think would be dangerous for Sky to try and integrate with, because they've set themselves up as a very kind of niche quality product, and I can guess if you're going to pay £21.50 a month, that's what you're going to be wanting to get out of them. Something like Amazon Prime, we currently pay £6.50 a month, which is, you know, it's the price of what would have been a DVD rental years ago. So yeah, you kind of get a lot more for your money, I think, I feel, with these services. So I don't think they're going to completely take over the market, but I certainly think that they've kind of opened up entire new platforms for things to be shared, and much more fairly actually, because if you're going to subscribe to something like Sky, which is largely very expensive and it's an unaffordable luxury for some people, which inevitably turns people to things like file sharing, with the kind of cost of something like Amazon Prime or something like Netflix, it makes it a much more realisable expenditure that people can actually afford, and then therefore it should assist the industry in kind of avoiding things like file sharing, although clearly there are kind of loopholes when you can share your kind of access codes and things like that with kind of other family members, sort of in the case of my own daughter, who's kind of technically become a part of her boyfriend's family for the subscription purposes. But I think it's changing the environment and the landscape. I don't think they'll completely take over, but I certainly think that it's making television sharing much more kind of fair and much more kind of equal for the audience. There are problems with that though. Some of my frustrations with these kind of online subscriptions is when, for example, we just kind of started doing a marathon of Dexter, and then it was removed from Amazon Prime before we got to the end. So that's a little bit frustrating, but I think that's kind of the price you pay. You recognise you're going into a transient relationship with television, and that these things are available for a limited period only. Granted, they'll come back again, but you've just got to be aware of that and go into it with an open mind and not become completely devastated if you don't make it to the end of a series before it's removed. But there's measures in place so you can check, so you know when things are about to be removed, so you can kind of make sure you sit down and don't leave your television set or your laptop until you've watched everything. So yeah, not completely taking over the landscape, but it's certainly changing the way we view as audiences.
With such as Netflix and being as popular as it is, do you think they're going to, as we said, the whole taking over television, do you think they're going to push more production companies through Netflix, or do you think they'll just push them aside and basically production companies such as Endemol will basically not exist anymore in the future if Netflix and Amazon Prime continue their success?
I don't think they'll completely push them aside, because I think there's a limit to how much their own production houses will be able to produce for them. And with companies like Endemol, they have got kind of brand reputation and things like that, and audiences will always want to consume their products. So I don't think they'll completely push them aside, but I think it will make that marketplace much fairer. It'll make it much more competitive. So I think it will ensure that there's not just lots of the same content, but I think they'll all be out trying to compete with their rivals to make sure that they're bought to go on these platforms. So I think we'll see a move away from kind of more of the standardised television that perhaps we've seen over the last sort of 4 or 5 years, with lots of kind of endless reality television and things like that. And I think there'll be a much more even marketplace, and that there is a bit more fair allowance for competition, because if audiences are buying into a kind of variety package like Netflix or Amazon Prime, they're going to want to see variety and not more of the same stuff. So I think it's valuable, and I think it's important that these companies need to have their own unique selling approach, and I think having that unique content is something that will pull people in. And certainly when, as a family, behind the scenes, it was a gift, and Amazon Prime was a gift for me, so I didn't know it was coming. But one of the things they spent a lot of time on and ahhing about was whether they should go for Netflix, because it had got Breaking Bad. So I think that is kind of unique selling points, I think, for these platforms will ensure that they'll continue to succeed. But equally, I think the existing production houses will kind of need to kind of up their game and be a bit more competitive in the product they take out to make sure that they get taken on.
As you said earlier, you obviously with the marathon of Dexter, this obviously the new phrase of binge watching, obviously such as Amazon Prime and Netflix do this. Do you think people are now spending far too much time in front of the televisions with this binge watching, or do you think this is just the new phrase, as it were?
I think television viewing practices have changed. I'm certainly quite happy to spend hours a day watching television. If you find something that entertains you, that you enjoy, that's a kind of quality product, for me it's kind of it's engaging with characters and things like that, and I want to invest my time and energy in those characters. So you become a little bit addicted to their lives, and you want to kind of continue to consume that. So I wouldn't say people are probably watching too much television, but I'd say they're being perhaps more selective about when they watch television. For my family, it certainly changed the way that we view, and we don't tend to sit down in that kind of 8 till 10 o'clock slot watching TV so much anymore, which would have been when traditionally we would have been kind of consuming as a family. We tend to go out and do other stuff then now, because we can kind of time shift our viewing to whenever we want to watch. So I kind of watch on my laptop on the train on the way home, or again, as I say, swimming competitions right the way through the day, because it's quite boring when you're sitting there for 7 hours to watch your daughter swim for 4.5 minutes. So you find other ways to kind of entertain yourself. And I know that other families have different practices and different people view differently. But I guess what I feel is that by allowing you to view when you want to watch whatever you want to watch, when you want to watch, it doesn't necessarily mean people are going to watch television for 15 hours a day, but it means that they've got the option to kind of fill what would have potentially been dead time. The Brits are great at queuing, and I've seen people watching TV on their phones when they're in a queue, and I certainly spend my time doing other things online on my phone. So I think new technologies are opening that possibility up to actually free us to do other things during that kind of evening slot when perhaps you would have just been sat vegetating on the sofa in front of the big square box that contains in our living rooms.
Okay. Well, as I say, thank you for that, Kerry. Obviously, it's great insight to looking at online subscriptions such as Netflix and Amazon Prime. And in fact, I just want to thank you for giving us your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So we've heard from a university academic. Now it's time to hear what you, the people, have to think about online viewing platforms.
I don't personally use Netflix, but I'd use YouTube, other streaming websites and things like that, which are better because they're free and more accessible. And with Netflix you have to create an account and stuff, which I personally don't want to spend time on.
I prefer watching it on Netflix. I really like the shows on it, like Daredevil. I'm really a huge fan of that show at the moment. And yeah, Netflix is quite good for an online demand service.
No, I generally tend to watch TV more, but if shows are exclusive to Netflix, then that's when I'll watch them there.
I quite like regular television because it keeps a system, so you always know when your favourite channels are going to be on when.
Yeah.
But I feel like subscription services are good for people who don't have time to do that. So you get home and you watch it whenever you want.
I totally prefer on demand compared to regular television. It's a whole lot easier. Netflix, I know, is one of the top on-demand services. It's one of the ones that I follow. I just follow a range of on-demand. It's a whole lot easier.
Yeah, probably, because the contract is kind of a document which of course has its rules, and you have to stick to those rules and then pay subscriptions, and yeah, it's just more accessible, I guess.
Yeah, they're definitely more popular now. I think they're very friendly for students, and they're very friendly for people who use online services now, and it's definitely a big part of modern society in the media.
I think the popularity is, like I said before, some shows you can only get through certain services, like Netflix with Daredevil. That'll be probably the only reason I sign up for it, is to watch all of that. So yeah, I think that's probably the main reason, really.
Yeah, I do. I think they're also popular because it's something that you can take with you. So you can watch stuff like Netflix on your iPad or things like that. You don't have to have a TV to watch it.
Not necessarily. I think it's a whole lot easier because it's not scheduled. It's one of those things, it's exactly what it says. It's on demand. It's there when you want it. And I think that's the selling point for everyone who's interested in it.
It depends on my mood actually, because I'm not this kind of person who could spend more than 3 hours watching anything throughout the day, but yeah, it depends on how I feel and what I have to do.
I don't binge on my favourite shows, no. If I get time, I'll watch it. As a student, it's quite difficult trying to fit in a few shows.
Yeah, definitely a binge watcher. That's why I haven't watched the Daredevil pilot yet, because I know once I watch one, I'll fall down the rabbit hole. I'll end up wasting 20 hours of my life when I should be doing work. So I'll watch it when I get time and binge watch.
If I get into a TV show that's already started and it hasn't finished yet, but the new season's going to come out soon, I tend to binge watch. But then if I start a TV show that I know is brand new, I tend to watch it as it comes out.
Oh, I binge. Can't lie that. Every time that I get interested in a show, I'll go through stages where I'm like, I really want to watch this, and I'll go episode after episode. I can go an entire day just binge watching a certain series.
So I think we've established how the popularity of the online viewing platform has managed to flourish and change the viewing habits across the globe. As you've heard from what you, the people, have had to say, when television is more scheduled, Netflix and others online demand services are tailored to you. You can watch whenever you want. But does this mean the end for terrestrial television? I guess only time will tell. Thank you for watching this episode of Breaking New Ground. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.